Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa and I'm joined by the glorious...
One amongst many, hello, it's me. Talking more guff about heroes. I love it.
Yeah, I quite like this format actually. It's nicer than me just sitting there talking to myself, which is a bit weird. Right, we're going to talk about Pharah. So, is this a nerf? Is this a buff? Is this good? Is this bad? Why the hell have Blizzard changed Pharah? But before we answer all those questions, let me just explain what they've done. So these are the, I was going to say glorious PTR patches, but I don't think I should be using the word glorious. These are the PTR patch notes for Pharah. Concussive Blast, cooldown reduced from 12 to 9 seconds. Okay, on paper means you can move around a little bit more often. Rocket Launcher, this is where it gets funky. Attack speed increased. Lowered recovery between shots from 0.9 to 0.75. Damage redistributed between explosion and impact. Explosion damage reduced from 80 to 65. Impact damage increased from 40 to 55. Explosion knockback reduced by 20%. And self knockback range increased by 25%. Let me just clarify what that means, because I've seen a lot of people getting quite confused over that. And in fact, I got confused over that to begin with. This just means that the radius around Pharah is essentially 25% bigger, that she can get knocked back from her own weaponry. So you can fire the rocket further away from yourself into the ground by 25% and you'll still get knocked back. Great. Yeah, I'm not going to read the dev comments because I don't know what they were smoking. Josh, tell me, what's going on with this? What the hell?
Yeah, there's a lot of like, is this good, is this bad debate. Like, is what does this mean? There's the sky falling. Is the sky going to be raining more rockets? Who knows? Like, the interesting part about this to me is that this patch change, these changes all came in because of console, first and foremost. And the devs came out and said this.
Specific nerfs changed.
Right.
They did it once.
Yeah.
They did it once, Bliss.
Clearly triggered Sty here. We've actually found a trigger. Right,
God.
yeah, because what happened was the console players basically find that Pharah is incredibly powerful. She's really, really good on console, so Blizzard went in and made these changes. And then they thought, well, these seem to actually just be working on PC as well, so let's put them on both. And that seems to be the mentality going into this one. The interesting thing is this, right, is that explosion damage change. Because I spend most of my time staring at the pro level meta. I think about what's happening with the pros. And
do your Josh voice. Do the Josh voice. Go on, do it.
Oh, God. So I think you'll find when Pharah is used with the pros, she's predominantly used as a counter. Okay, I won't keep doing that.
Stop.
Okay, yeah, it will just drive everyone insane. So... The explosion damage is the really important part because he's used to counter that 3-3 comp, goats comp, tanks, supports, all in a big ball. You fire rockets into it, and in about 20 seconds, you have a barrage, and you need that barrage explosive damage to overcome all the healing that 3 supports can provide. The rockets just aren't going to be enough. You can get like a lucky 2-shot into Lucio, maybe, if you've got a Mercy with you, but otherwise, it's not really going to be enough to kill anything. So you need that splash damage to build up that barrage. They're changing it so now you're going to be doing more damage on direct hits, which sure, you can land those on the tanks, but it's a lot harder to do. It's a lot sort of more tricky to do. And anyone who's put meaningful time into Pharah knows that direct hits, they are a very, very trained skill. They're an acquired skill that takes a lot of practice and a little bit of luck here and there as well. So it's like... I think overall her damage output is going to be reduced by this, and sure, she's firing faster, and I remember Valkyrie talking about this, and I kind of agree with it, which is that you tend to be aiming with Pharah. You're not really just holding left mouse button and hoping, unless you're spamming into a clump, in which case the explosive damage is going to be better, but in duels, you're going to be predominantly aiming and then firing. You're making very considered left clicks. It's more like Widowmaker, less like Tracer or Sombra or Soldier, and so that speed increase isn't actually going to be as good as it sounds, right? You want to let go of your rockets when you know they're going to probably hit something. You're not just spamming them mindlessly, hopefully, and just hoping that works. So it feels like overall her damage output might be slightly reduced here.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Val comment, yeah, I agree with that as well. So a lot of notable Pharah players, Seagull came out as well and was like, this is just a straight up nerf. Now, a lot of these reactions, they are knee-jerk, but like, at the end of the day, that's what people like to do. I like to do that as well. We won't really know until we get the hero into the game, but this is into the live game, that is. But this is a drastic change to the way that Pharah is currently played. And the idea of, like you said, spamming the rockets out. When I first got onto PTR with this, it was back in Paris. I was in Paris in my hotel room, and I fired it up on my laptop, and I'm like, wow, this actually feels quite nice. So I'm flying around. It feels more snappy because I'm just blasting rockets off like crazy. Yeah, I can kind of use concussion blast more often, although the actual like real world implications of that I don't think are that good. It's almost like it's a change, but I don't think it really makes that much of a difference to Pharah, because if you think like you're going to boop into the fight or maybe boop away from the fight, you then don't really need the boop faster, if you get what I'm saying. That the extra 3 seconds is kind of like, yeah, it's not,
still an ability. You got to
It's
use it
like,
about once a fight. Yeah,
you're not. It's like strange. It's such a strange change. But yeah, like she felt more fluid to me. So I'm like, hey, actually, this seems quite good, right? Firing rockets off quick, it's all cool. So then I started to think, like, what would be the implications of this? Well, Pharah duels might be more interesting because it's faster rockets. But again, this is me not taking into consideration the fact that you do not just hold down left click like a complete Pharah noob like I am and just fire the rockets like crazy. You're calculated. You try and predict the trajectory of the enemy Pharah and then adjust your rocket trajectory to follow. So you're like, bang, bang. It's not bang, 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 bang. I'm just hoping something hits. That's not how she's played. It is if you're an idiot like me, but that's not how she's played for these extremely good Pharah players. The thing with Pharah as well, I think this is a fair comment to say, but I think she's the weakest DPS at the highest level. Players who are using Pharah are...
I mean, you've got to remember, this is a game with like Torbjorn, Mei, and Bastion in. That's whenever I make a statement like
they're
that,
not
it's
DPS.
like Symmetra.
I just no. They're defense heroes to me. So I mean, old school offensive,
old school
heroes.
attack heroes.
Well, basically, what I'm saying is like heroes that if you're playing Pharah, then you probably would be more inclined to play like a McCree or a soldier or something else. Some of the kind of like actual DPS hero, not a troll like Torbjorn or Symmetra. Even I'm going to get slated for these comments, but whatever. She just seems like a very strange one to me that they would actually consider changing in this way. And now the console issue, and we really do need to come back to this. I'm pretty sure that Blizzard have made one different console balance patch in the history of Overwatch, and I'm sure it was something to do with Symmetra. I know you guys might correct me in the comments below, but I'm pretty sure it's something to do with Symmetra.
Yeah, I think it's Symmetra's like beam tracking or something like that, or because she's much harder to deal with and stuff like that. They've done a lot of tuning and stuff like the auto aim and how that works and like the aim adjust and things, but they haven't really done anything to make it too divergent from the PC and console game. So it's a weird one.
I was like, wow, this is such an elegant solution. They've come up with a change to Pharah, which makes her more engaging to play on PC, but also reduces her just massive dominance on console. But as we're starting to see now, it's almost like universally seen as a nerf to the hero. Like, we won't know for sure until we get onto the live servers, as I keep saying, but like my personal experience of the hero is it's quite frustrating when you get involved in so when you're trying to take out like an Ana or some sort of low hit point hero. Normally, you'd kill them with splash damage. It's very rare you're just going to hit them with directs and kill them. You might get one direct, but then you might get a splash hit or, maybe another splash hit to get the kill. Now, you need to get the directs as you just do nothing to these heroes. And one of the biggest issues I've got is this explosion knockback reduced by 20%.
Yes.
The devs even said this is so it's easier to counter the Pharah. So if you're a McCree, like you get hit, but like say if Pharah jumps on top of you and you're Widow or you're McCree or you're Soldier, you're dead, right? Because if she's above you, she fires a rocket into you, you start getting knocked back, taking loads of damage. It's hard for you to aim at her. By the time you start to aim at her, she's got another rocket going into you, and then if you're not dead off that rocket, the next rocket is going to kill you. That's how Pharah takes you out. Pharah had the danger of like, I have to get close to these heroes without them shooting me, so she has to be quite clever. Like we go back to Valkyrie again, very good with Pharah movement, boops in on top of you, like how'd you deal with it? That's where the skill comes from. The issue now is when you get hit with the rocket, even though you take more damage from the direct, you're just like, it's like you're just unfazed. It's like, I've just been hit by a rocket, but I'm unfazed. I know where this is coming from. So you're still returning the damage, and that to me is quite a massive nerf to Pharah, like a really big nerf.
Yeah. Someone who played Widowmaker for a season, like the danger of Pharah, like people often think that, Widowmaker just hard counters Pharah, blah, 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 blah. It's not that simple. When the Pharah does get on top of you and you're playing a Pharah quote-unquote counter, if she's just bouncing you around a lot, then you're going to have a really hard time countering her. So stuff like Ana, Widowmaker, McCree, like they're all going to have an easier time shooting her out of the air, plus the buffs that recently went to hit scan that made them better at medium to long range, the damage drop-off changes sort of came in, plus the fact that Mercy is being played less. See our other video about Mercy, go watch that. It's like, well, okay, so Mercy's being played less, hit scan is now better, and you're making Pharah's DPS less reliable.
Well, Soldier and McCree actually betterer in this patch, remember? Because Soldier, he's got.
He's getting 9 bullets.
Yeah.
9 bullets! 9 bullets at perfect accuracy. It's insane.
And McCree can roll more often. So, yeah, I mean, what the hell? Like, so Pharah and New Torb. Like, we're forgetting New Torb as well. New Torb's turret is a son of a bitch for Pharah because you can just, you don't expect it to be there. It's not going to kill you, but it's a bit of chip damage. And if Soldier's shooting at you as well, I mean, you just... I think
it's a dark time for Pharah. It's a dark time for Pharah.
Like I just said, knee-jerk reactions are stupid, but I'm coming out with one. This is just stupid, and Pharah is why would you even play Pharah?
Valkyrie is going to be in Diamond. Valkyrie is going to be in Diamond. I swear. Seriously. Like, it's terrifying, yeah. Like, I can just think about all the things that are, like, combining at once. It's really going to be tough, because... And I'm sure, like, let's try and find positives. Let's try and find the arguments towards the positive, right? Which is that if you can land the direct hits, her damage output is better. Also, her mobility is a little bit better as well. I know with, like, the stealth knockback range, you can actually, like, you can create a little bit of space easier and stuff like that. You feel more fluid, and overall, like, you have a little bit more options regarding your movement.
Why can't she cancel Barrage?
Because it one-shots heroes in, like, 0.5 seconds is why. But it would be ridiculous, I think, if you could do it. But then she probably needs it now. Like, if she needed it, that's the thing. Like, this is an overarching Overwatch balance discussion, which is like how much power should be in the ultimate, and how much power should be in the hero package. If you let her cancel Barrage, then suddenly you're moving a lot more extra power into that ultimate, right? Because you could just like blow up on Mercy and then cancel it and concussive blast out, or rocket jump out, or something like that. You just blast away and it's fine. Barrage, you at least know you have a sacrifice to it, but. Man, I think that, yeah, like, if you can land direct hits, then sure, this patch might feel like a little bit of a buff, but that's like the 0.001% of Pharah players that I think can do it reliably enough where this is actually going to be, like, actually going to feel like a buff.
Yeah. It's weird. It's really weird. Like, I don't know. You know, I'd really like it if they came out with almost like mini videos showing the process of the balance and the changes and how they get to this point, because obviously we know they do internal testing. We know they have a thing called Tools Tray. Now, I forget the guy's name, but he did a massive speech on it at GDC, and this allows the devs, it's basically like the ultimate custom game tool, so anybody working in the Overwatch team can basically fire up this little sort of application in Windows and just change whatever they like. Like, it's really simple. You can be like, so Pharah has 10,000 health, you know, okay, and then you start a game. And what happens is it alerts everybody in the team that a new game has started. And this, I think this includes like people in like the customer service departments and whatever. So there's like a lot of people. I think actually people from other teams can join into this as well. And then they can join into the game. And then they can test out the changes. So this is what they're going through. You know, they're making all these changes. A lot of the changes come from Jeff Goodman as well. So he's coming up with new hero designs. He's coming up with balance changes. The team obviously get together and they discuss what's going on and all that good stuff. But they're firing up all of these like test scenarios. And how do they get to the point of like, I mean, I know this, we're talking about Overwatch balance here, but how do they get to the point of like, yes, this is a good idea, but also in the same patch, all of the counters to this hero get better. But we are making this hero have a much higher skill cap, but it's not really worth, in Stylosa's glorious opinion, dedicating time to getting good with these rockets when you could just play Soldier, or you could just play the McCree, or whatever the hell you want to play now. Like, you'd have to be like Val. You'd have to be somebody who just is addicted to Pharah and just doesn't care, and for whatever reason wants to learn. And you know what? That is another discussion entirely. When a hero I mean, this has never happened to me, right? I've never had a hero that I play been radically changed. They've just all been buffed or like minor nerfs. I've never had a hero be reworked or just be completely changed. And how would I react if they, you know, got my Soldier or my McCree or my Reinhardt or whatever and just totally changed the hero? What would I don't know how I would react, because we've seen a lot of the crazy reactions of people going, I'm not playing Pharah anymore. This is so bad. I'm just not playing anymore. You know, granted, these are crazy knee-jerk reactions, but people are connected to these heroes, right?
Yeah, I mean, personally, like, I don't think that should ever... like, I know that this is a big deal for some people, but I think that should never really factor into balance discussion. Just, this is me coming from, like, my competitive purist place, right? That's very much the place where I live, of, like, well, if this is healthier for the game overall...
Josh, isn't there a thing of changing projectile speed? I'm swear to God, I've seen something about that in terms of game balance for FPS. Like when you change something, like increase the rate of fire or increase the speed of projectiles and all of that kind of stuff, it's such a dangerous thing to do because it like upsets the players that have put time into that hero. And you look at Pharah, she's been like this since launch, and now they've just gone, well, we're almost at 3 years.
They're not changing the projectile speed at least.
No,
they're changing the shoot rate.
The beat, like the rhythm. The rhythm of Pharah is very different.
The rhythm of Pharah is going to feel different. The mobility is going to feel a little bit different. But also the big thing in terms of difference of feel is going to be like when you go in and you're shooting at a Zenyatta or something and he's bouncing around a little bit and you fire 3 rockets at him and your brain goes, he should be dead now. Yeah. Like in previous patch, he'll be dead, but he's not.
This happens with
That's
Torb.
Going to happen a lot.
This happens with new Torb when he goes Molten Core. You're like, he's using this. Oh no, he just pressed E. But you think he's used his ultimate. Yeah, it really screws. You're like, there's a super turret somewhere. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so like that's going to happen to a lot of Pharah players now, where it's like they should be dead now. Surely they should be dead now, and so that's going to just feel really, really weird. But yeah, like these massive changes, these sort of whole kit changes, and I want to go back to something you mentioned of like, okay, they've changed Pharah, but they've also changed like 3 other things that will affect Pharah. And that's where I always get concerned. I remember having a long discussion with Chu, who coaches Envious. We were on the plane with each other back from Paris. And we had a long discussion about like the fact that Blizzard have a tendency of doing this, where they'll like change not just one thing, but they'll change like 5 things. All of them have impact on each other, and suddenly you end up with this really big seesawing effect. And like Blizzard have sort of become known for this seesaw effect in their balance across all of their games, where they don't just change one thing, they'll change like 5 things, and as a result, Pharah doesn't just like dive bomb out of the meta, she just crashes through the floor out of the meta because, now Soldier's buff. Now Torbjorn has more turrets out and can put them in more interesting places. Now the support that she's playing is less relevant as well. And so all these things come together and suddenly Pharah just vanishes into thin air. And that's something you always have to kind of be scared of when you're looking at this many patch changes at once, especially with changes to hit scan at the same time. It's like, now might not be the season where you go, I'm going to learn Pharah. And you might want to go pick up something else instead. I recommend Sombra.
It looks quite clear that we've had the balance changes, the wholesale balance changes for support. This is clearly the DPS pass with a little bit of Orisa, and then we're going to get the tank pass because, we're expecting to get Roadhog at some point. Which hopefully is on the PTR fairly soon, if not already. So that could be interesting to see. But the support changes did kind of work. They made all the supports more viable. Obviously, we've covered Brig, and Brig's interesting and all that stuff. But yeah, it is very strange, isn't it? This massive sort of like, we're just going to go in and make loads of change because there's no possible way. They can predict what's going to happen here. I mean, there is, right? We know that by buffing all the counters to a hero and then making that hero arguably more difficult to play, that hero is going to suffer. It doesn't really take anyone with, like, I don't know, some sort of super AI machine learning computer behind them to, I don't know where I'm going with this, to get to that conclusion, does it? It is very weird. But the fact remains, why even change Pharah in the first place on PC? Nobody was asking for a change. I don't think anybody was going, where's the Pharah changes? Where's the buffs? Where's the I don't agree with the speed that she fires rockets. You should fire more. And she should have a faster concussion, and she should be able to knock herself back 25% extra distance. But no, that's not right. But whatever. Yeah. Who was asking for this? So why do it?
Yeah, it's a weird one.
No one can answer me.
I don't know. It's Jeff Goodman going like, "Hey, this feels really, really nice." And I think I want to sort of wrap this up on that idea of feel, right? Where, like you mentioned, you go onto PTR and you load up the training room, you play around with Pharah, and it's like, man, this feels better. This feels really good. And I want to harken back to when Sombra was changed, when all the Sombra players came out and said, "Oh, this is worse." Why did they say it's worse? Because it felt worse. You had less speed on your stealth. The Translocator felt weird and different, and it felt kind of wrong and weird in how you played it. You felt slower, you felt less mobile. Now with Pharah you feel more mobile, you're shooting more, but the actual damage you're outputting might be less overall. And you've got to always be very, very careful when you're thinking about in terms of how things feel compared to how things measure up in the data and where all your damage actually comes from. And with Sombra, just to wrap up on that point, Sombra's power comes from the ability to get a good EMP or a good hack in a good place. The stealth changes enabled her to do that. Pharah's changes, meanwhile, decrease the amount of damage she does overall. Sure, she can move around, sure, she can shoot a little bit more, but it's going to just reduce her damage output on the whole, so now she's going to feel a little bit worse, and she's going to be countered more As a result, I think this is going to be a nerf.
Let us know what you think about this in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Stylosa, and this is Unit Lost. If you like the video, then like the video. Remember, you can click the little bell dingling thing, and then you can get alerted to when videos go live. You can follow me on Twitter as well, which is at Unit Lost Gaming. And over to you, Josh, my man.
And you can follow me at @1_ amongst many.
Awesome. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Toodaloo.
Toodles.